David, why is a discovery important?
A company that's been using a software for some time, even a short time, has no idea if they are maximizing the application, if their people are utilizing it correctly, or if they are squandering opportunities. So if you're running it for, let's just say, a few years, often people implement software and they're in a hurry, they have to shortcut things, and they just come up. And then years later, they left a lot of valuable functionality behind. If you're on it for some time, a lot of times you lose the expertise, and you might be struggling with software, and you might be struggling with it because internally you don't know how to utilize it. Or the third option is that they really are using the wrong software. They've outgrown it. It no longer meets their needs, and they know something's wrong. And then they see all this material and cold calls coming in about how they could go to something better. And then they're in a whole different ballgame, because now you've got, there must be 40 or 50 softwares out there that a company can run, but maybe 4 or 5 are right for them. And of those 4 or 5, maybe 2 are perfect for them. But companies don't do this for a living. They don't know all the ins and outs of the software, or they know their business, but they don't have the expertise of knowing what all the options are available on software and how they might do best practices, because they're not doing it now. And that's where a discovery from a company like ourselves that does this. We work with software. We work with many companies. So we bring that skill set to come in and explain or show them that maybe you don't need to upgrade today. Maybe you need to upgrade 4 or 5 years. Let's make these changes to really improve the processing today. And then in 2 or 3 years, you can see if this other software, maybe at the time then. Other times you might look at it and go, your staff has no idea what they're doing, and they need to be retrained. You maybe need to do an upgrade, which is a lot less expensive than doing a full implementation and retraining everybody. There are sometimes people are just running such old arcane software that never met their needs in the first place, and then something like that is very expensive, and they want to make sure that they choose the right piece of software.
All right. Second question, what is business process analysis?
The process is to take apart an existing department. So take a sales department. How they are, the first thing is how they are performing that process, or how their business is performing that process currently. So they're going through an EDI or a web order is coming in, and they're processing it and shipping out the door. So it's going in depth into into a departmental process. And first, understanding how they're doing it today and what their business really is calling for. Because sometimes the way they're doing it is in a very hodgepodge way, because they're not. Their existing procedures don't match what the business requires. Or sometimes they're just missing opportunities. So part of it, too, is not only understanding what they're doing, but maybe what the business could be doing, or what their customers are asking for, so that we could re-engineer the process to not only maximize the software and the people, but also meet the customers or vendors or suppliers' requirements, so that the process is correct for the business.
There is this phrase, as is and to be. So what does that mean, as is and to be?
So how you're doing it currently, so how people are going through their day-to-day process. Sometimes people are just running processes and they have no idea why they're hitting these screens and they're doing these steps. So part of it is to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, or maybe they don't know why they're doing it. And the second thing is the 2B is what the software can do, what the business process should be based on the demands. So that's the gaps that come out of it. You're currently doing this. Your software could be doing this. Your customers or your business is asking for this. Here are the gaps in both the software and the business process.
The last question for today is software selection. So how do we go about software selection?
Well, as I said earlier, there are many dozens of ERP applications out there that are some of them are pretty good, and some of them aren't. Some of them have some have strengths and weaknesses. Some specialize in certain niches, and some try to sell to everybody. So a software selection is often looking at many dozens of ERP systems out there. So you're certainly looking at ones where they're viable. So certain companies are out there that they've been just barely hanging on, and their future is questionable. It's not something you want to hang your card on. That's part of it. Other ones is what functionality they bring that you need. So the as is, what will meet your as is, or excuse me, your 2B. And thirdly is going to be certainly architecture and your own environment. So certain companies are they have large IT departments, they're very savvy, they want to run all the bells and whistles, and they want to be able to maintain it themselves. Other ones, they just want to run their business, they want a turnkey, they want it to be out in the cloud, they just want it running. They just want to be able to come to work and run their business, and they want it out of the box. All of that is part in the selection of the software. And of course, costs. Some are far more complex and are much more expensive to implement and support than others. Of course, you get all those features with those complex software. So I often think of I use the analogy that you have a delivery company. Somebody says, "Gee, I need to deliver stuff." Well, the first question is well, how much do you deliver? Are you delivering a half a dozen wedding cakes a day, or are you delivering 100,000 a day? Do you need a wagon? Do you need a pickup truck? Do you need a semi? Do you need a train? All of those are options with software out there. I think the other thing that's left behind, and you don't hear this from a lot of salespeople because they're trying to sell the software, is the amount of effort required. Depending on the whether you're upgrading or re-implementing or bringing in a whole new software system and its complexity, the effort internally could be astronomical. For some software you can do it in 3 or 6 months. Other ones it could be 8 or 12 months. But very complex software could be 2 years. And you need people from each department, and you might need teams of people. So a discovery has to also include the internal resources that are required to do it. Because if you're spending $1 million in internal resources, and that's not included in the project plan, in 2 years, it overwhelms people. Sometimes the projects fail because you don't have the internal resources to support such a plan.